Good morning to you. Good morning, Vicki.
Good morning. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed. We got a great guest in studio here this morning. Must be Friday. Must be riveting radio real estate time. And Don Pannell is in studio. Good morning, Don.
Good morning.
How you
Happy
doing?
Friday to
Happy
you.
Friday, a riveting Friday.
Yes, it is.
Got a listing for us to
do.
talk about. This is a good-looking piece of land.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, it's out in Shorecrest, so it has that great view of Hammersley Inlet going out. And Shorecrest community has a really nice clubhouse, swimming pool. This particular place is like 500 feet from a park, which is really pretty.
That's
Has beach
Yeah.
access right there. I mean, you could walk down there, have a picnic, and go down on the beach and enjoy that. There's also a boat launch there, so it's a great location. It's across the road from the water, so you're not paying waterfront
Sure.
taxes and things, but you still enjoy that great view. And the house itself is kind of up on a hill, so that makes it even better.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's the caution with this one that I tell everybody is that it is a 1973 double wide. So that means that it's too old for most banks to lend money on.
Okay.
So this is probably going to have to be a cash sale or a home equity line of credit, that kind of thing, sale. So be aware of that. Having said that, though, the house itself is in decent shape. It probably needs a new roof, but it's certainly livable the way it is. We're selling it as is. This is kind of they used it as a vacation home, and they're having some health issues, so they want to sell. So we priced it accordingly to reflect the need for a new roof. The good news there is that it's not a huge house, so the roof isn't going to be that much to replace. It's got a great full width deck across the front that's covered, so you can sit out there and watch the boats go by and the whales.
In the rain, even.
Even the rain, even
nice.
yeah.
Sit
And
out
then
there.
and then it's got a really cool terrace down, and then a flat grassy area, and I can just see some Adirondack chairs out there.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So it's really a great property for $77.5, and you get 2 lots for that.
Oh, wow.
So the lot that the house is on, and then the driveway, and then there's another lot on the other side. That means you pay double homeowners dues, but out in Shorecrest, that's for both lots, that comes to about $37 a month. So
wow.
not too bad,
bad.
not too bad.
Not too
What's
shabby
this
at all.
this stairway I see that down to the water?
That's at the park.
Oh, okay. So that's the park picture.
Yeah, the park
Okay.
picture. But again, only 500 feet,
Yeah.
if that, from the house. So and walking along you can see the water all the way down there. So yeah, and it's got a really cool little fence around it that the homeowner built. It's really
Now,
cute.
is that in a 55 and older?
It is not.
Oh,
no,
nice.
it's open.
Oh.
So yeah,
Very cool.
And Shorecrest is a nice area, especially in that part of it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mixed area, but that particular part has some really nice houses and really easy access. So you just hop off the road there, and you're there. So I would encourage people to go take a look at it. We've had some interest in it just because of the price, basically.
Yeah, I bet.
So even if you take the house off of it, you're still getting a pretty good price for 2 lots that has septic and water and power already to it. So
Would most folks look at this as just a land deal, or
I wouldn't, because the house, like I said, is certainly livable.
yeah?
So you could live in the house.
What's that website? I'm going to look at
Go
that.
check it out.
Yeah, these pictures are pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dated, so it needs some updating. But you put a new roof on it, and you update it.
Gives it more character.
It does.
which
It
is
does. And it's got a little covered carport area and a little shop area in the back,
Yeah.
for
Nice.
storage and that kind of thing. So yeah, or you could build on the other lot and live in this one, and then
Take
you've
your
got
time.
all
Oh,
kinds
wow,
of
that's a good idea.
Or you could always sell off the other lot too.
Oh.
So you're getting 2 lots for a really good price, always with the option of being able to sell off the vacant lot.
Huh.
So yeah, lots of possibilities on this one. Yeah. So take a look at it. And as I said, we've had lots of lots of interest in it, but no offers yet. So bring those offers in and
Make yours today.
make yours today. Yes, yes.
Letter D is what we're up to.
We are up to all the way up to letter D. Yeah. And D stands for down payment.
Oh, good.
Yes, and this is interesting because a lot of people get confused between down payment and earnest money, which you would think would be letter E, but it's not. So I thought I would talk about both of them
Ds,
together.
too.
Yeah. So down payment is the percentage of the home purchase price, which is usually between 5% and 20% paid upfront in cash. But the caveat there is this is an agreement between the buyer and their lender. They're the ones that set that earnest money, or that down payment, I'm sorry. Earnest money is money that's paid as part of the contract. So that's an agreement between the buyer and the seller. And that is usually, it can be any amount really, but usually about 1% or so of the purchase price is earnest money.
Okay.
And you pay that to the escrow company and they hold that. And that is sort of your good faith money that says you really are going to follow through with this sale. The buyer gets the earnest money back if they back out of the sale for good reason.
Yeah.
So in other words, if their financing fails or the inspection fails or something like that, then they get their earnest money back. If they back out for not a good reason, like they just sort of flaked out and changed their mind,
Sure.
then they run the risk of losing that earnest money because the agreement is that the seller gets that as damages for the buyer backing out of the deal if it's for a not good reason.
So if they are going through the deal and everything looks good, then what does that earnest money turn into?
Then the earnest money comes off of what they owe at the end. So it's treated as a credit for the buyer.
So the sellers don't care what the down payment is.
Not usually, except that it shows, if they're putting a healthy down payment, then it shows that they're fully capable of going through with this. Sellers a lot of times don't like to see zero down payment loans just because they're a little more risky and they think that the buyer then doesn't have any skin in the game. So there are zero down loans available, but I always caution buyers to keep in mind that sometimes sellers, especially in a multiple offer situation, aren't going to look as favorably on a zero down offer as they are on a 20% down offer, just because they figure, if the seller or if the buyer has 20%, they're in a little bit more stable financial situation. That's not always the case, but I always caution buyers to be aware of that. And you can get a down payment loan for 3.5% too. That's usually an FHA loan. So,
but if you're between 0 and 20,
right,
you have to do the PMI, right?
Right. So that is something to consider as well. So that's mortgage insurance, and basically that again compensates for the fact that you're putting a little bit less of your resources into this deal. So they want to make sure that you're insured against your backing out of it.
You're representing a buyer. They have 20% down payment to pay.
Right.
Do you encourage them to make do all 20%, or do you say, hey, this would make you a little cash strapped for a little bit?
That's really not in my wheelhouse to advise. That's between the buyer and the lender.
Oh, okay.
So they should talk with their lender about that, and or their accountant, somebody like that.
Okay.
I am not an accountant. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a lender. I'm just representing them finding their house.
Okay.
So in that case, then it becomes a cooperative venture. And really, at the bottom, at the end of the day, the buyer is the only one who's going to be able to say whether
they're going to
make this payment or not.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but again, the lender would be the one to kind of walk them through what their payments are likely to be, that kind of thing.
Are they traditionally cash, like paper cash or a check down payment, or is it part of the loan offer? Or?
Typically, it's rolled into the loan amount, but not always. Not always. It again just depends on what their arrangement is with their lender. The earnest money, on the other hand, needs to be either a personal check or a cashier's check, or we try not to do cash just because it's harder to follow. And if I get cash, I usually end up having to go buy a money order or something like that. So
Right.
try to have it be either a personal check or a cashier's check. And that needs to be in my hand, so I can, if I'm representing the buyer, it needs to be in my hand 3 days after the offer is accepted, so that then I can turn it over to the escrow company, and then it becomes part of that file. Yeah, and the escrow, in our case, there are some real estate offices that act as their own. They hold those checks. We are not that one of those offices, so we turn it over to the escrow company, and that's actually more typical, that it goes to the escrow company to be held in the file to be taken off at the end of the transaction.
If you go to your lending institution and ask for a pre-approval letter, does it have anything on there about potential down payment?
Usually.
We can afford a $350,000 house and have the ability to put down blank percentage.
Usually, yeah,
Okay.
usually that is part of it. And again, that just makes it look more attractive to the seller, that not only have you done that process of getting that pre-approval letter, but you also are aware that you're going to need to put some of your own money into the process, and that so you're buying into it, and that looks very attractive to most sellers.
So it's like an abstract, like a cover letter to a job that you send out
Yeah,
to somebody.
yeah.
They look and they get all the bullet points of
Right.
how qualified you are.
Right, and we're building up a little bit. I mean, when the market was bottoming out, it wasn't that important, just because there weren't that many qualified buyers around, and sellers were jumping at the first thing they got. But now we're seeing more and more multiple offers on properties, and so anything that you can do as a buyer to present yourself in the most favorable light is going to be to your benefit. Yeah. So, they always say that you have to save up for this down payment, and it's really true. So, unless you're going to be qualifying for a zero down or a low down amount, you're going to need to save up. And so I would, if you're going to do that anyway, I guess the recommendation would be to go ahead and try and get that 20%, so that you're not having to pay that extra insurance.
Yeah.
So
How can people get in touch with you, Don?
they can call me at 360-490-4493, or they can come and see me at the corner of 3rd and Railroad. And again, if I'm not there, they'll know where I am.
Well, it's always good to see you.
And I just want to say, you need to find more like that out here.
That's right.
Because I just looked at Shoreline. It's like 2 hours away. I'd have
Yes.
to get another job if I
Ye-
lived out there.
Oh, no, you're in the wrong...
You're in Shoreline. We're in Shorecrest.
Crest. Oh, there is a difference.
Yes,
Yeah. Okay,
yes.
let me look at
We're
that.
get- we're getting
Let's see how far that is.
For sure.
It's not far.
About,
About
3
20
minutes.
But,
It
no,
is?
No, well, by water, it's about 3 minutes. Yeah.
It's just right up the road. Just right up
Oh,
the
I'm going to
road.
need a boat. That's
Yeah,
what
there
it
you go.
is.
There you go.
Shorecrest.
Yeah. That was one of those places. It's a lot faster to get to by boat than it is by land. Yeah.
Don, good to see you. Have a good weekend.
Thank you.